Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi. Hey there. Hey there, all you cool cats and kittens. How's she doing?
I don't know. Didn't they find her husband's plane? What happened with that?
I don't know. And here's the thing. It's really none of my business if a woman's husband dies.
Mine either.
It's like, it's one of those things where I go, no matter the woman, accidents happen, my guy. Sometimes people slip, sometimes people fall, sometimes people disappear. And even a woman I dislike, unfortunately, I will back her for any man. Any old man.
I think they're still legally married since no body has been found. So I don't know what's going on.
She gives me cameo vibes.
On her Wikipedia, it says her life's work and that of her family included passage of the Big Cat Public Safety Act when it was signed into law in December 2022 by President Joe Biden. So
I'm so happy. You know, that was actually at the top of my list of priorities. Because you know what I say? The true genocide, big cats.
So I guess she's an
activist, a philanthropist. She's really moving the needle.
An entertainer.
An influencer. And a kitty cat. Meow.
Jeez.
Well,
all right. Well, I'm glad we had that update.
Yeah. And we all been just on the edge of our seats wondering whatever happened to Carole Baskin. And now we know.
The only time I really think about her is
the song.
Yeah, Megan Thee Stallion song.
Me too. That's literally
Yaddy,
what
yaddy,
came to
yaddy,
my
yaddy,
mind.
Yaddy, yaddy.
Now I gotta dance. Don't do that to me. It just
yaddy, 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 yaddy.
It takes over.
Yaddy, 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 yaddy.
I feel like those
Curvy,
toddlers
crazy.
whose parents,
curvy, crazy. I don't know.
So in Love Island, Rob and Leah, the early joke that they share one brain cell and they like pass it to each other. Sometimes I feel like that's you and me, where it's like,
we'll 100% you and I. Like, we make the same facial expressions, which has been caught on camera now. And I'm laughing because now Patreon is just, when we have the frame selected, it's just us making the same faces.
Without even you selecting it. It was just the automatic generated one. And Melissa sends me a screenshot and I go, what are we talking about? She goes, bitch, I don't know. This was just the one it chose at random. So I go, oh, so we were doing that pretty much the entire time.
Yes. Yeah. And it's happened a couple more times since then. And that was only last week, 2 weeks ago. And it's happened a couple more times. And then also we finish each other's sandwiches as well. So, and then we forget things too.
And we always forget at the same part. And it goes, well, now you said that. And that's because we share that one brain cell. It's like, we're twins. Now the circuit is going to cut off right there. So not much to do after. But welcome. You're welcome to share our singular brain cell with us. We're a podcast. We have many podcasts, actually. Well, we're people who make many podcasts. We are Meghan and Melisa. And this is a podcast called Don't Blame Me, where we give you wonderful, amazing, life-changing advice. And if you love it here and you're like, this is so fun, boy, do I have great news for you. On Tuesdays, we have another podcast called See You Next Tuesday, where we chit chat, we hang out, we catch up. It's very like just listening to your friends in your ear. And then we give you a little break on Hump Day, similar to USA Love Island. They say every day but Hump Day. And yesterday, it's Thursday when we record this. So yesterday was Wednesday. And Montz came home and I was like, babe. And he's like, what? And I was like, it's Hump Day. And he went, oh no. We were both like devastated that there was no Love Island. And then we are back on Thursday with a podcast called But Am I Wrong? Where we talk about if we're wrong, if you're wrong, other people are wrong. It's like, passing judgment. This is like giving advice and we're here to help. The other one is we're passing judgment and we're like, bad call, shouldn't have done that, or support it, love the choice you made. And then we also have you vote on who you think was wrong in each of those segments on that podcast for us to read on our Friday episode called Fisting Friday.
Great job, Megan.
Thanks. I try. And where can they watch us switch off between having our full body shakes?
They can go to Patreon, which is the link is down in the show description, and you can subscribe from $1 to $6 a month, depending on how much you want to be active with us. And you can see our faces, the faces that we make. You can see the big shiver that ran through my body a second ago. You can see my chesticles are out.
Yeah, titties, 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 titties.
You can also participate with us in our live streams that we do twice a month. And they're a good time. You get to know us on a more personal, more deeper level. And not just us, but also other people that are part of this phenomenal community that we have curated.
Yeah. Do you need friends? We have some for you. They're great. And I feel like we should announce this podcast. Not everyone's going to know, but the two people we've made fun of for being not even just in the same city, like, so they're constantly two ships passing each other by. One's at a coffee shop, the other one's 2 blocks away, and they were never meeting up. And we've been trolling them about this, the entire group, us, for years at this point. They met in real life in person.
They finally met. And I'm still not sure about one of their heights. They claim to be tall, but they look about the same height in the picture they sent.
But the issue is the alleged tall also is a graphic designer. So we don't know what kind of wizardry has been done to the photo.
True. That's true.
Or what kind of wizardry has been done to every other photo of them that makes them look tall.
Yeah. And they also got a mini refrigerator to put in their house.
This has to be edited. I'm looking at it again. It is. Because they are the same height. And they did that on purpose.
After she went through all of that to say she was trying to find her outfit that made her look the tallest.
No, there's no way. It's a great time. And also, if you have like more than $6 to spend or more than $1, like, and you're like, hey, I have unsubscribed from Cody Co. and I stopped giving men money, finally listen to us after all these years, and I would like to support you more. Or maybe you acquired some money under suspicious circumstances and you're looking to diversify. Our Patreon is open. Your money is good here. I always wait for Melissa to co-sign or say, Megan, you can't say that. But she's remaining silent. So therefore, I'm assuming that's a go-ahead on me saying that you can spend your dirty money on our Patreon.
Yeah, you can spend anything that you want to do to launder your money in the opposite direction.
Diversify. Launder sounds like that has negative connotations. And I'm not here to shame anybody's girl boss, anybody's hustle.
Yeah, you want to diversify your portfolio, go for it. But I was looking at the shoe size difference, and I think you're correct.
Yeah. I had a friend like that, and I had a friend who had 2 different cup sizes bra.
You used to.
No, okay. No, I did. First of all, I so did. But thankfully, I was like not really wearing a bra anyway. And it was crazy when I figured that out one day. And I was like, I think my boobs are 2 different sizes. And then then you came over. And then I had another like couple friends over like a week later. And I was like, I need you all to look at my boobs. And you're all like, ah. And then I'm like, wait, let me lean over. And then you're all like, oh shit. Yeah, I'm not on that birth control anymore. It just made one tit grow. Now I've got like the normal. So it was so, you guys, it was
and I
so
remember
crazy.
When they evened out. And I think I pointed it out to you, baby.
Yep. And because I think I switched from the brand name to the generic of it. And that's when my period like stopped fully and like the boob size evened out, like it regulated or whatever. but it was so fucking funny because like they were so different. But I wasn't even wearing a bra. But I had a friend in high school who like without birth control, her boobs grew. One was a AA and one was like a C+.
Yeah, my cousin Leslie, and I can say that because I'm not putting her on blast because I have 3 cousin Leslies. My cousin Leslie,
Damn.
my cousin Leslie, was like that. Like all growing up, it was wild.
Yeah. Like, and now I think back, I'm like, well, thankfully that they make bras now that are like 2 different cup sizes, but she used to just deal and like she would just pick the cup size for the bigger one and she like wouldn't stuff the other one, but she'd be like, oh, it's mostly just air up in here. And she just wouldn't wear tank tops that were too loose or low cut because like one would be not even grazing the skin. So let us know. Do you have 2 different size boobs? We love it. Everyone does technically.
Yeah.
Well, this is a podcast where we give you wonderful, amazing, life-changing advice that, guess what, it changes your life. And maybe the advice is, hey, did you know they make bras for 2 different cup sizes? It's great. It's fantastic. And if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meganpodcast@gmail.com, or you can write into that email, or you can send us a DM and write it in there. So for all of them, you have to be 18 or over or have your parents' permission. And for, again, all of them, we want to know how old you are. You can let us know your pronouns if you would like. For the voice memo and the voicemail, you have to keep it under 300. No, for the voicemail and the voice memo, you have to keep it under 3 minutes. And for the written versions, keep it under 300 words. We ask that you like write everything down, even if you're just like recording the audio. Write everything down and practice saying it a few times so you can time it, make sure it's under 3 minutes. Then you can just read it aloud on the voicemail or the voice memo so we can get all of that. We need the details to give you the best possible advice. So just remember that like you're telling it to 2 people who, despite the fact that we are with you in your in your AirPods, in your ear holes, on your commute, while you're cooking dinner, we're not actually there. So we don't have the whole backstory. So you got to fill us in a little bit. And that's how we can give you the best advice because that's what we want to do. And you can let us know if you are sensitive as well. But yeah, and just know if you omit information that feels critical, we will have to read into that. So better just to give us all the information because otherwise we're going to probably draw the same conclusions or totally wrong conclusions. And then can't blame us.
Nope, it's in the title. So be as descriptive as possible in the allotted amount of time and or words.
Good way to put it.
All right, let's get into the first one, and it is a call.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. So I am 27 years old. I'm going to go by they them pronouns. So this is a call because I need advice on how do I introduce my partner to my dad. So my partner is 30 years old. They go by he, they pronouns. My dad, forgot how old he is. He's the same age as Madonna. And he goes by he, him. So my dad, he and I have had kind of a rocky start with me coming out, but he has changed now. He like literally last year got me a pride flag out of the blue. He's like, hey, I got you a pride flag. And he makes mistakes here and there, but he's learning. And, you know, I appreciate that. In the back of my head, I still have that little fear that he might change his mind or something. But I can't think that. But I do want to introduce him to my partner. And I've never introduced my dad to anyone before. And my partner, I feel they're special. So I feel ready. I just don't know how. And I'm a little nervous. So I would like some advice. Unfortunately, I cannot ask any of my sisters because when they introduced their boyfriends to my dad just so happened to be drunk. And I don't want my dad to be drunk this time. I want my partner to have a good impression of my dad. So, I don't know. That might be the last resort, like hella last resort. Just get my dad liquored up being like, hey, dad, that's my partner. But, well, I don't know. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much. Love the podcast. Yeah.
First of all, so happy for you.
I know. After all these years.
And all these choices.
Yes, and all these choices. I'm just smiling because I'm genuinely like happy. I have like a little tear. I don't know if it's my allergies or not, but I have a little tear right here, and I'm just very happy for you that you're in a relationship that you're happy in, and you're not calling us about a problem about your partner
or hiding something about like, you know what I mean? Like this is such a clear depiction of like, you are so, you want to share this person with the people who you love. So I would just say that like, for how much that like we can like tell how happy you are and like how amazing this is, I bet your dad can too. And I think it also means a lot. Like you've never introduced someone that you've been dating to your dad before. So I think like if there are other people in your family who have met your partner already, I think that might help them and you feel a little bit more at ease. So everyone else kind of knows like, we've all met, this is to meet dad. So you've kind of got the support in that there. But I think like it's natural to be nervous when you really like someone and you want someone else to like them, and you want the person that you're with to like your dad. Like you want it to go well. And I think that that's an indicator of how important it is, like how important all these people are to you. So I think like when you're having conversations with your partner about when they're ready for that as well, and other people in your life being like, okay, when do we think the good setup is? I would say not drunk. I think that's probably not great. But I think as long as your partner is also like aware of like the history of this, of being like, I think it's going to go well. I really hope it does. Just know that this has been our journey to get here. So I've never done this part before. So like we've been on this journey of together of them coming around and them understanding me and all that. But we're in new territory here. So I'm optimistic that your dad is going to see how and know how happy you are, and yeah, just be happy. And like, I'm curious if your dad knows that you're dating someone, because I think that that's I don't in general for anyone think it's a great call to introduce someone to having a big announcement. I'm dating someone. Here they are right in that moment.
That's how I am. But,
yeah, she's going to show up with like 3 kids and be like, hey, meet your grandkids and your son-in-law.
But I agree. I think it should be something that is arranged, and you let him know that you expect him to be sober. And if he's not sober, then don't bring your partner. But I also feel like just knowing how things have changed over the years, because you've been calling us for years, just knowing how things have changed with your father and your relationship with your father has changed. I think like he knows at some point that you're going to bring someone home. And I think that he knows like who that person would be. And I think him extending, the pride flag was also like a white flag, like, I'm here and I'm accepting you. So I just think you should talk to him about who your partner is, and then say like, I'm really excited for you to meet them. So this is what we're going to do. And I think like talking about it is a good way to gauge how the actual meeting will go.
Yeah. And even like where you want to meet, of being like, okay, so my dad obviously knows and is excited, but like, I don't really want you to come over for like dinner. So I think like coming to a family thing for a little bit, like where we pop by, I think that would be great. Or before we go out and do something like low stakes like that. I think you'll be able to, like Melissa said, like, I think you'll be able to gauge what will be the most comfortable for everybody involved, like including you, of like being like the bridge between, like the facilitator. So yeah, because I also think that everyone should essentially be in on it, in the sense of like, there should be a plan. If you're not driving in the car with your dad, whether it's like your sisters or somebody else being like, Dad, don't fuck this up. Like there's just like people are there and they know, because I think, yeah, like Melissa said, like what we've seen is through your dad with all of this is like, it's just taking him a little bit more time. Like, and it's just taking him like, he's trying, and that like speaks volumes to you, but it just has taken him a little longer. So I think like prolonging this for him, so he is getting excited. He knows it's coming. He's getting excited. All of that kind of stuff, I think, will be what will make you less anxious. I think it will feel like, oh, it's about time, not like rushed or too soon or anything like that.
I just came up with the perfect scenario.
What is it?
Does your partner know how to use a hammer in any type of way? And then they can,
I was just trying to start something.
help your dad on one of his mini projects.
No. You know what it needs to be? You need your partner to be handy, but pretend to not know how to be handy and say, teach me how to do one of these projects. You are so good at them. And then he can teach. There's so that I would actually die. Hey, I need help setting up a bookcase. Will you both come help?
Is the book, but the bookcase might be in a tree.
Yes. Would you come do this? Would you help me build a cave?
But you do like you make it in a text message and the wood is like actual wood. So there's a little pun there.
Oh, I was like, what wood where? Took me a second. I got it. I love that.
Don't do that. Don't do anything.
Don't do it. But also cater to your dad's cater to like people's interests in this and like baby steps. Like it's obviously so not the same, but like the first time I met Matz's parents, I literally think we might have gone to dinner, but I don't even know that we did. Like, I think I might have met them at the welcome drinks for his brother's wedding. Like, and that's just like
big place to be meeting.
Yeah. And like, we might have had dinner before or something like that. Like, we probably did like have dinner like once before or something like that. But like, you know, I think we had met one like over FaceTime when like he was FaceTiming them before and it's like, oh, hi. Like, so there's ways like that it doesn't always have to be like the movie moment where it's like knock on the door, there's the corsage, sit down, meet my shotgun. Like there's not always like that. Like you can without a doubt like breadcrumb it or being on the phone and being like, oh, like they say hi. And it's like, oh, my dad says hi back. Like there's that kind of stuff where it makes the person like excited. Because I think if you don't talk about the relationship or your dad's not included in like seeing you so happy or hearing about all of that stuff, that's what I think makes people like really excited to meet someone's significant other. Yeah. So I love this for you.
Me too. All right, we're going to take a break.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that ShopPay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned
to not tell this story. But I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
And now it is time. We are back from our break, and let's get into some more. Good morning, Meghan and Melisa. I am 30, she, her pronouns. I'm trying to get out of debt, and I just don't know where to go from here. I've held a full-time job since I was 16. I went to college because I felt like I had to, but looking back, I wish I went into the workforce and just built my career from there. I work in a large office, and probably half the people in there have degrees, even speaking for the higher-ups. Nowadays, experience is where it's at. I'm just settling into my field, so while I am making a good amount, I have to wait a while before I'm really breaking even due to debt. I did not manage my finances at all until recently. I am paying my student loans just enough to get by. I don't know if I'll ever fully pay them off. I'm just paying enough to keep them out of collections. I seriously budget every little thing I do, and I feel like I'm missing out on life. Is this how it's supposed to be? I see people around and it looks like they're living life while I'm spending it worried about making sure my bills are paid. I know Don't Blame Me's are usually a bit more upbeat, so sorry if this is a downer topic. Like I said, everyone around me seems to be living their best life, so I don't know who to ask. Thanks for your help.
Everyone's living a lie.
And Melissa, how are they paying for those things? There's only two ways.
Mommy and daddy's money
or
credit cards.
There you go. So just know that like you are amongst peers who are doing this. You are just, like you said, I only recently started budget. They're not there yet. Mm-hmm. They are where you were a couple years ago. And that nothing makes me more irate than like watching this kind of shit happen and like seeing this kind of stuff happen. And like I started working when I was probably like 13. I started babysitting and then had my first like job that wasn't babysitting at 16, and then started making
TCBY.
Exactly, TCBY. And I was a lifeguard assistant, and I was making videos, but the YouTube partner program monetization wasn't even a thing for a while. And then by the time that I was like 19, 20, like that was 19, 20 was when I was making money from that. But I was amongst people who we were making like the same amount of money. Sometimes I was making more, sometimes they were making more. And I just remember like, here I am budgeting everything and being like, okay, so I have to save up this amount of money for a car. If I want to drop out of college, which I did, I'm like, I need to make this much money for rent on an apartment. I can spend this much on grocery. This is these things that I can do. And I am not good at math. So I would underestimate everything. So like I would live more frugally than I even needed to, because I'm like, I need a cushion. And I have to save this much for taxes and all that. And I remember saying something about it to someone and then them going, oh, my parents just pay my taxes. And I was like, what? And I was hanging out with them and I was like, how are they spending all this money and like getting their nails and whatever? And like, I would be like, no, I'm not hungry, or like, no, so that's okay. And I was just like, how in the world? And the people would be like, oh my God, come on, you have money, you can do this. And I was so confused until the end of the fucking year. And they're like, my bank account is zero. My dad has to pay for my taxes. And like, but he does it every year. And I was like, what? Like, it was mind blowing to me, because I felt like I didn't know I was hanging out with mommy and daddy's credit. Like, people don't really advertise that, is what I'm trying to say. It's like, even people who I were like, these are my peers in the workforce. And like, I know how much money they're making. And like, what am I doing wrong that they're able to spend that money and like be totally fine with it and like still have savings and all of that? They weren't. Like, the bank of mom and dad sometimes is silently paying the rent. Sometimes it's also like, what I've always said is like, having family with money, or even having family with money is having a safety net that makes you take bigger risks in your career and makes you do all of these different things and take a job that might not pay as well, because you always know you have a backup plan. It's not like, oh, I can't do this because I won't be able to pay for my health insurance, and if I get sick, I'm screwed. It's, well, it'll figure itself out. And what that translates to is my parents will pay that bill or whatever that is. So I just want you to know that like they're living their life on somebody else's dime, or they're doing exactly what you did before. You're not doing anything wrong. And not having debt comes, 90% of that comes from generational wealth and like people who can pay, like that's what that comes from, or luck. And even then, those people, you're not in debt forever. Like that's not a permanent state either.
This is the first time I realized that this was like happening to people. I was in college, or not happening to people. People were doing this. I was in college, probably like around the same age that you were.
Yeah.
And I had friends that would like every weekend would like be traveling to like another school or whatever to party and then come back. And they were like, why don't you ever come? And I was like, well, I don't have the money to do that. And they're like, you have money. And I said, I'm in school full time. And sometimes I'm like a quote unquote ambassador where I was, handing out flyers for things.
Yep.
And I was like, I truly don't. And I found out that a lot of people were just taking out extra loans and then had a lot of extra money, quote unquote, extra money, because they just were taking out loans or their parents were paying for it. Or it was like in the instance of like some other people, like all their school was paid for and then they would take out loans. So then they just had loans were basically just their job.
Yeah.
And then like when I would say within the like last 5 years is like I started having like actual conversations with like friends now about money, and like everybody is like budgeting, and I know like how much people are actually making, and like we're talking about investments and we're talking about like the future and things like that. And that didn't start till recently for me. So like, Ryder, you've still got like a few years before the rest of your friends catch up. So I understand, and I've been in the exact same situation that you've been in, but it'll catch up to them.
Yeah, I so agree with that. And the thing I would also say is like, seek out people who are in your spot, and it'll be so easy for you to tell what people are in your spot. Cause like where I grew up, everybody, like I would pretending I grew up with money because everyone had money, but like it wasn't the kind of flexing culture. So it weirdly made it worse because it was just assumed and expected that everybody had whatever that they had. And so it wasn't like, oh my God, we're so rich. Cause kids only really do that when they're aware that there are people who are poor around them. Right. But like when you think you're all at the same level, like it's so much just like trying to keep up appearances. And I've had people on YouTube like, no, you definitely grew up rich. And I'm like, oh my God, it worked. Like, thank you so much. I tried so hard. And like, so then when I went to college, I remember I was still kind of a bit in that like mindset. And I went to a school where like the vast majority of kids had a job, or if they didn't have a job, they had student loans. And if they didn't have student loans and a job, they either commuted from home, or whatever. But like, it was not a like lavish spending money. Like the vast majority of people in my sorority were on like payment plans and like all of this kind of stuff. And that was a huge weight off my shoulders that I didn't even know that I like needed or was looking for when that happened, of like people who were like, I didn't have to be the one to order a side salad when everybody's getting like an entree and like still wanting to go or whatever. It would be my peers being like, oh, we're not going. I can't like spend money here. And I had like one friend who grew up, who had a lot of money, and she was like, if we wanted to go, she'd be like, no, I'm buying, like whatever. If I went to go hang out at her parents' house, her dad would give me $100. Like there's that kind of a thing. And like, if you are not surrounded by that, it exists. You just need to get out of like whatever cycle you're in with these friends and these people, because even if they're not from family money, even if it is they're in debt, they've had to create a different reality in which this isn't affecting them. And you've already popped that bubble. So like, don't go back into trying to be like, no thoughts, just vibes, just swiping and swiping and swiping. But there's something like very validating about being friends with people and spending time with people who, or even just like following people on TikTok who are in your same, it feels much less isolating. America like wants you to spend, I mean, the world wants you to spend money and like wants people to be in debt or whatever. So seeing people who are having fun, not spending money, will remind you that it's like, oh, this is like capitalism trying to push this to me. Like, this isn't a real reality. This is like what they want me to think. So I keep spending fucking money.
Yep. I have like one of my friends, we're like on the hunt for like just finding free things to do around LA and not having to pay for stuff unless it's like food or anything. So like, and they were also telling me about like they're an actor and like the strike happened and it like during the strike their savings got deplenished. So like just find like-minded people. And so like now she's on their quest of like building that back up and telling me how she's doing it. So
yeah,
you've got friends or find friends or people on the internet that are in your same situation.
Yeah. I know it feels like you're missing out on life and it's like, is this what it's supposed to be? And for the vast majority of people, it is. This is kind of like what life is. And I obviously can't give you like real financial advice because anything I've learned about finance, I was lucky enough to be in a position where as soon as I started making money, again, didn't even have a credit card. I was in my 20s, didn't have a credit card, didn't have like, everything was in my checking account, not even a savings account. Like I just didn't grow up I grew up with zero financial literacy. And I got, I think it was my third manager, who was the manager we have, like who I love. Immediately, she was like, I've set you up with business managers. And I was like, it's expensive. It was a lot of money to give them money to invest my money and do all of that stuff. But you can do that on your own now, like, especially when you're not doing with like large sums of money or whatever. You can do small investments. Just don't look at it like the lottery and don't look at it like a casino game because that can get really slippery.
And I don't know why I didn't think of this immediately. I produce a show Gabe Dunn hosts called Bad with Money. He talks about how like he was bad with money growing up and how like he became more on the path to financial freedom. And there's been several times where he's had to like go back to the basics because he made bad investments and stuff. So listen to that. There's also a Discord and a Patreon that you can join. The Discord's free and then Patreon to pay. But like the listeners are always having conversations about money. And so that's a community that you can join.
Yeah. And don't buy into like the Dave Ramsey, Tony Robbins, like all of that kind of stuff. As long as you stick on track, it's not going to get worse. You know, like you're going to learn more, you're going to feel more comfortable and like things might come, it might go up and down or whatever. But like the popping of the bubble of this is just a piece of plastic, this isn't real money, like none of this is fucking real, like whatever. Once that dissolves, you inherently make better financial decisions because you just think about it. So you're so not alone in this at all.
Nope. All right. Next one. Hi, Eminem. Love the pods. Longtime listener, and I've called in a few times as well. So I need advice, and I think y'all are the best ones to give it. I have a pretty large social media following. I wouldn't say I'm an influencer just yet, but it's my goal. I make get ready with me videos, daily routine, skincare tips, etc. So as my videos get more popular, the trolls are rolling in. I know this is a part of it. I promise I know, but my feelings still get hurt every now and then. For instance, I'm a mid-sized girl and I did a video of put my groceries away with me. I literally had someone message me and say, wow, more fruits and vegetables needed so you can drop that extra weight. No shade, you're still pretty. Good God. I literally cried after reading that. I have always struggled with my weight. What this commenter doesn't know is that I have worked really hard to love myself in my own skin. I try to let stuff like this roll off my back, but it takes me back to being that insecure teenager I was growing up. Comments like that make me want to give it all up. Maybe I am just not cut out to have large audience follow me. The thing is, I really enjoy what I'm doing. I even secured brand deals and I'm making money off of it. Please let me know your thoughts. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm 28, she, her, and a Scorpio. This is your lane of expertise.
It is. I wouldn't say that you're, first of all, congratulations. This is like so many people try and do that or want to do that and it doesn't work. And it's working for you and you enjoy doing it, which is not common. Like it's something where it's like, if you have a knack for something and you enjoy it and other people enjoy it, that's to me like something that you should stick with. And I won't like lie. I think that the longevity of the career, or I don't know, whatever scope it is, tends to be better suited for people who don't take those kinds of things to heart. But there are certain things that people say or do or whatever that, like, regardless of like how thick your skin is, will still upset you. And even like if it doesn't necessarily like make you cry, it might make you just like feel annoyed or feel like misunderstood. So regardless of how sensitive you are, like I would consider myself, I have like very thick skin online. Like I'm not really affected by any of that, but I'll get annoyed if someone like gets something wrong. And even if it's like, I'm like, oh, that's stupid, but like, I mean, it's wrong, but whatever. That's still like an annoyance there. And so no matter how much like stuff doesn't affect you, the whole thing I always tell people is like, don't ever seek out what people are saying, because the people who are coming to watch your content, whether they're liking your content or hating it or whatever, those people are still seeking it out. They're still seeking it out. But if you then go to seek it out, those are people who aren't coming to you, and they're not wanting or necessarily intending for you to see what they've said. So when someone intends for you to see that, it fucking sucks. And like when people say things that like hurt you, and that's awful. I think a lot of it comes with like self-acceptance and knowing that like, where are you in your own like journey of like, whether it's like therapy or like whatever that is. The internet can be like, everyone had like internet is my therapist, like all of those kinds of memes or whatever. And I'm someone who's like shared a lot of stuff online, but like that's definitely petered off as I've gotten older, and I'm much more like intentional about those things. So just knowing that like, despite the fact that an online community can feel a lot like a community, it can turn on you a lot faster than a real community, like than your friends and family are like in person. So I'm a big believer of like, don't rely on that like solely as your comfort or your solace or like the listening ear or whatever that is. But a lot of it is also just getting desensitized. And that's kind of dark and sad. But I mean, at least for me, I don't know where you're posting this. I'm assuming you're posting on TikTok. And straight up, TikTok is not for the fucking faint of heart. Like that's a level of like commenters and like all of that. Like I have gotten the absolute worst and nastiest comments on TikTok than I have on like any other platform. Maybe, okay, well, a couple people on Instagram, but like besides that, like it's just, that's one where it's not really your audience and it's not really a community. And I don't know, I encourage anybody, like TikTok's a great place to get a community or get people's attention who want to join your community on another platform. But I don't think you'll find a sense of community on TikTok that you will with like longer form content. So I wouldn't say like abandon TikTok and do YouTube or whatever, but I think there's a different level of thick skin you need to have. And if you love content creation and like, let's say you are doing it on TikTok, you love content creation, but like it's really hard, I would move to a different platform. Like I'd still post on TikTok, but like I wouldn't necessarily engage in those comments that much. Like, and I would really focus on YouTube and then promo a YouTube channel or whatever that is. But yeah, there's not really like a secret trick to the fact that other than the fact that like you need to like your life on camera and your life off camera, and those things can't be like exactly the same. So it can be really hard when it feels like all of the best parts live in your phone, all of like the things that you love and you're most proud of and all of that. Like I got so into like the workaholic obsession that it's like I had no life. Like my life was what I was putting out. And then when you're bleeding out for people, even if it doesn't feel like super intense or deep content, it's everything you have. That leads you to a point where any negative comment just like sends you like you need to have like such a full life offline. And that's how you'll also continue enjoying it. And I've had to like learn that, and like I go through phases and stuff, but like, yeah, I burnt out way too much, and it's hard because you feel like you're on the come up. But I think longevity is far more important, and people want to watch people doing things that they enjoy. So as long as you keep enjoying it, that's what I recommend. And then finally, mute words, whatever words you don't want to hear, even if it's like something innocuous that like no one else would think is an insult, but you really like that. Like there's certain like words or like phrases or whatever that are like not things that I like to be called, even if they're kind. And also, don't tell people. Like that's another thing. Like don't give people the ammo of like, if you have like an irrational fear or this is my biggest insecurity, don't tell people that. These people do not deserve to know that. But yeah, mute those words in that case and know when to like step away from it. But I think the best thing about making content is building a community. And I don't think TikTok is the best place for that because it just, and you end up on, sometimes I read comments of like a video that I go, this is definitely supposed to be on my For You page. And I open the comments and I'm like, who the fuck are all of you people? Like, this is nasty. It's vile. And it's like, that's so hard because you can't do much being on the other end of it, like as a viewer. And it's even harder for the creators.
Something I've noticed when I look at people, like look at comments on people's videos and their negative comments, I'll click on that person's profile and look at it. And they're usually commenting about something that they're insecure about in their own life. And some people I follow will point those things out to them. And, you know, some people just won't say anything. But I think like it's important to know that a lot of times people are reflecting on their own self-hate when they are leaving nasty comments and they're not coming from a genuine place. They're coming from a place of insecurity. And block those people. Like if somebody makes a comment that you don't like, block them because why are they here?
Yeah.
You can keep scrolling.
I also find sometimes on TikTok, I click on the username and then I see like 20, 30, 100 other videos from different creators responding to the same person, leaving nasty comments like all across that. And like, I think the hardest one is when ones that don't feel that the people who are leaving them, it doesn't feel like it's negative. People can sometimes feel way too comfortable talking, like ones that like I just watched Brooke Averick was talking about this, about how someone sent her a message basically being like, oh my gosh, like thank you for like wearing a bathing suit, like I've never felt beautiful, and like I look at you and like I've never seen my body before, and like I've just always hated myself and my body, and like now you have my body, so like I guess it's not so bad. And it's like, it's an inside thought, like what the fuck. So yeah, to me that also, I have to have a healthy relationship with the internet to then be able to recognize other people not having a healthy relationship with the internet and then being like, this isn't about me. But if I'm too deep in it, it feels real. Like, and it feels significant and important because I can't register that they're too fucking online if I'm too fucking online.
Yep. All right. But good luck and congratulations on your success.
Yeah. Send us your account.
Yeah.
I won't troll you. I promise. I really won't.
Imagine.
It's me.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Merry Christmas, everybody! My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody! Let's go!
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
Each week, we deliver 4 fun-filled shows.
In Don't Blame Me, we tackle our listeners' dilemmas with hilariously honest advice.
Then we have But Am I Wrong, which is for the listeners that didn't take our advice. Plus, we share our hot takes on current events.
Then tune in to see you next Tuesday for our listener poll results from But Am I Wrong?
And finally, wrap up your week with Fisting Friday, where we catch up and talk all things pop culture.
Listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
We are back from our break, and it's time for the next. Hi, Eminem. Love the podcast. I, 23, she, her, have been hooking up with this man for about 6 months now, and I don't. Sorry. I'm sorry. Start again.
You got to say it again. Say it again.
Ooh, I'm not kidding you guys. This is a cold read. Who? Hi, Eminem. Love the podcast. I, 23, she, her, have been hooking up with this man for about 6 months now, and I don't know his name. We matched on Tinder where his name was T and eventually followed each other on Instagram where we talk now. But his name on Instagram is a nickname. It's whatever. Please don't share the pod. This is a nickname. That's not that's not a name. It's like a descriptor. He's in his mid-30s and very private. Also mostly just follows his family there. So I'm pretty sure that it's even a family nickname. I simply cannot be calling him that, especially in bed. So everyone, again, it's a descriptor. The first time we met, it completely slipped my mind to ask. And every time after that, I've been too scared to ask because I really should know. I really should know now. Should I just ask him now or is it too late? Is there another way I could bring this up or trick him into saying his own name? Please help. Thanks. Love you guys.
Okay.
Get that man's credit card.
I think, though, if he goes by T or the other name all the time, I don't think it would be out of the ordinary for you to ask him what his actual name is at any point.
What if you ask where the nickname comes from?
Yeah, that's that.
Or just find this man's credit card.
But I truly don't think there's anything odd about asking a name for somebody that, like, you don't, like, for somebody that never goes by that actual name.
Yeah, and also, like, you're saying, like, I should know by now, but you're, like, trying to figure it out and you can't figure it out. So then how would you know?
How would you know?
And there's no way to know. And, like, he would know if you had asked him and you haven't asked him. So I think maybe the best way to go about it is just being like, I've been meaning to ask and I keep forgetting, like, what's T short for? Like, or just say, is T short for something? Because I think it is better to kind of just.
Well, we know what T is short for.
No, but we can, if his first name starts with, and if he says that, and then it's like, how did you get
Where
that
did
nickname?
this come from?
Like, how did that happen? Because I think that, like, you know, I don't think in general, he's an exception to this, but I think in general, when you hear someone who goes by an initial or just a singular, like one initial, not even two or whatever, being like, oh, what's your real name? Like, I think that's fucking weird. Like, just if someone introduces himself with whatever name. So he is, like Melissa said, he's presenting this as his name. You've tried to search to find his full name. You can't. So it seems that this is what he is choosing to go by. So asking him, I don't think is out of left field. But I think if you play it off like, oh shit, I should already know this, then I think there's a reason why he doesn't have it readily available. So, like, I think accepting, like, that this is his name and being like, oh, I'm just curious, is it short for anything? Not
what
assuming.
What is your government name?
Yeah, not assuming, like, okay, well, what's your real name there? Yeah. Just because that's, like, he clearly leads with this for a reason. And I don't think anyone who goes by a nickname, like, should be offended if someone, like, or goes by we don't mean a nickname like Becky, like, let's say Lil Wayne, just going by Lil, or who's the one, Rob, and the MTV short guy, big guy,
Big,
is that
Robin Big?
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. So, like, that's one of those things where it's like, okay, if that's your government name, if you've got a more unique name, people are used to being like, yeah, that's my name. That's what it is. If you don't come at it from, like, a disrespectful or judgy place, and I don't think you will, people who go by nicknames are used to that.
A lot of my dad's friends go by nicknames, and I had no idea that they were nicknames for the longest time until like when I would notice when I was around their spouses, their spouse called them what their actual name was, but everybody else would call them these names. So like, I don't think it's like out of the ordinary, but usually the significant other.
Yeah. But it's usually because like you have to ask. Like it might not just naturally come up. Like I didn't know one of my grandma's names was like, I thought her name, which was her name. And then it wasn't until, and I like should have thought because like I did, I guess technically know, but I assumed this was like up until my sister and brother-in-law were having their kid. And it was like, oh, what are the grandmas going to call themselves? One of them said something. I was like, why would you call yourself by my grandma's name? And I was like, no, that's a name for grandma. And I was like, the fuck? Like I was shocked, but I was like, oh, actually, wait, I guess I do know. I thought the other one was a nickname and that wasn't. So like, it's just, I don't think, don't make it a huge deal about like a secretive or whatever. Mm-hmm. More nonchalant, the better.
My brother-in-law's best friend, they're basically part of the family now, but everybody calls him Duke. And they call it like, it's spelled Dook. And I was like, that's an interesting spelling, but okay. But then when I met his wife, she calls him Cordell. That is his name. His name is Cordell. He goes by Duke.
Melissa, this is the way that this was me meeting all of Mott's friends. And he would refer to, and I go, he said someone by the other day, and I was like, where does that come from? Moss was like, no idea what that nickname comes from. And it would be, I would go out with them, like we'd go to the East Coast or we'd see them, and they would shake their hands to introduce themselves to me with a first name. Take in mind, 90% of these men, their first name is Alex, which I go, thank God you all go by nicknames, because I don't know who they'd introduce themselves, and I have to be like, hi. I have no idea who you are, because they're giving me their first name, not their college bro nickname. And I'm like, hi. And they're, oh, you might know me as, this is not a real one, but it's similar. You might know me as Salamander. And I was like, oh, so great to meet you. Like,
that's like, I was like thinking of like my dad's friend, like Doc. I don't like right now off the top of my head, I cannot think of his actual name. I'm trying to think, like I can hear his wife's voice in my head, but I can't think of what his name is. No clue. He's not a doctor.
No, I had a science teacher named Doc. Not his real name. But again, couldn't tell you what his real name was. So I love a nickname, and people who have, like, usually there's like fun stories behind it or whatever. So I think like you should ask because it shows interest in it. But I would also make sure you include like, how would you prefer I refer to you? Like, I don't want to, now that I know that this is your name, like what do you like to go by?
Yep. So also call back and let us know about you, a 23-year-old dating somebody in their mid-30s. Let's talk about that.
Melissa, how did I miss this?
I don't know how you missed it. I figured you did since you didn't bring it up.
Oh my gosh. Wait, I'm so sorry. I actually revoke everything I've said. He's in his 30s and very private.
Mid-30s.
Mid-30s and very private. You don't know his full name. He's married. Get that man's credit card.
She does follow him on Instagram and sees all his family and stuff, and they all call him that, though.
Oh, it's he mostly just follows family. You follow on Instagram. Okay, well, yeah. He might be running from the law. It's crucial you figured this out. So sorry, I missed the whole numbers part. It's important you figure this out because a man in his mid-30s should not be lying to you, you're a woman, or anyone, a person. Yep, in your early 20s.
So we have more to discuss. Call us back or write us back. Let us know how this whole situation is going. We have follow-up questions.
I also have a question because I know somebody whose name is a first letter and then a dot and then another name, but sometimes it was just the first letter. And if you're dating that person, they are not in their mid-30s. They're older. So find out. Let me know. We'll cross-reference. I can't believe I missed that.
I figured you did.
Yeah, no, of course. No, I'm glad you mentioned it because, I fully fucking missed that. Now it's time for Don't Blame Them, and Don't Blame Them is where one of you all call in with your own advice regarding to a call we had on a previous episode. So that could be you have professional experience, it's about something in the workplace, you work in that area or a field, or it's a friendship thing, a relationship thing, something that you've gone through personally, or maybe by proxy that you just have your own advice that you would like the caller to hear.
Hi, Hi, I'm calling for a don't blame them for the caller who was trying different sports and felt like they were quitting if they weren't good early on. So this year I started taking pole dance classes, which at the beginning is very humbling. It takes several classes to get used to using the pole. And I had those moments early on of frustration that I wasn't good at it and felt like I might never improve. And as a Virgo and a perfectionist, that was a hard pill to swallow. For me, I think what helped get over that was first reframing it as how impressive I am for trying something to challenge myself and putting myself out of my comfort zone. And second was finding the right instructor for me. I've been lucky that every instructor I've tried at my studio is very supportive and inclusive, but I ultimately clicked with one that has become my favorite, and I go to her classes every week. She's super supportive and reminds me every class that even if my move doesn't look anything like what she can do, that it's still a great first try. And as a former overachiever in school, having this type of instructor really brings out my inner teacher's pet and makes me want to come back week after week. I also remind myself after every class that I'm just here to have fun and I'm not going to be thrust on a stage to perform anytime soon. So I would encourage the caller to try other programs within that same sport, maybe at different locations, or find a different instructor if you're not feeling like the first one fits you best and fits your preference. And if you ultimately decide to quit tennis, like Meghan and Melisa said, it's not a bad thing to try something and decide you don't like it and want to try something else. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I love pole dancing.
Yeah, that's something that both of us have done in the past. And you had to quit because it was bruising your knees up too bad, right?
Well, their in-person auditions aren't happening anymore. And that was the issue, was that they said, Meghan, casting loved you. They are a little concerned about the status of your legs. And I was like, okay, cool. Fair point. But now they won't see it. They won't see it until I book the role.
I went, and I wasn't particularly good at it, but I am of the mindset if I'm not great at something, then I don't want to keep doing it. But they had other things that I was good at, like the twerking class, phenomenal.
I of course didn't attend because, I'm still at the stage of practicing in front of the mirror, hoping to unleash it. The videos, it felt cruel for me. It felt like some people have all the talent and all the skill.
And the twerking class, it would incorporate the pole, but not like the scary part that I didn't like to do. So I could just climb up a couple little scoots and then roll on it, then come on down to the ground and twerk my little ass off. I don't know why I said little, fat ass off. And then they had a flexibility headstand class. I've been able to do a headstand easily since I was 5, so excelled in that. And then there was also a gym that I would use too. So it opened, wanting to try pole dancing opened the door for me to try other things that I enjoyed more than the actual pole dancing part.
Yeah, and I think their advice about finding a teacher is great because that's how I ended up sticking with Soul Cycles. I found an instructor I really loved, and that made me stick around. And then I even when I was at a gym and going to those kinds of workout classes, once you have one really good instructor, you then start to value that, and then you seek that out and you try all of the instructors from this place until you find one that you like, and then you go, oh well, I know I could have one I really like, so I'm not going to settle for something I don't, so you move on for that. But yeah, that's a great tip too, because I could see that as a teacher's pet. I was never one of those. Not so much, not academically at least. I was the personality hire of my entire academic career. So thank you for giving that advice to us. And now I want to go to a pole class.
Yeah, let's go.
I had promising, it's similar to when I worked at TCBY. And my manager, Maria, said, I have a future in yogurt. That I did not take so kindly because I said, Maria, if I'm going to college, I can't have a future in yogurt. And also, I know you're lying to me. I'm so bad at this job. But then when the pole teacher was like, you're great at this, she was like, you're a natural. And I was like, I think it's because all my bones and joints are so loose that I can just really swing around. And I was like, amazing. So yeah, that there's no other high like that. You keep striving for it.
Mm-hmm.
So love that. If you all enjoyed this episode of the podcast, thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. Like we said at the beginning of the show, we have more podcasts for you for the rest of the week. The only day you will not get us is Wednesday. So stay tuned. They're all released on this feed. So if you are just listening on Apple Podcasts, subscribe here or Spotify as well. And again, our Patreon, you can join, see us, the video version. You can listen to it ad free. You can also just join the live streams, or you can be like, I just want to donate money to a charitable organization. And this is our organization. It is us. So
yeah, it's not like a registered nonprofit because we are for profit, but
give us your profit.
Give us money. Also, like, here's an incentive. If you are a part of the Patreon and you see the video, I will put my twerking video. Coco's going to edit it into here.
You guys, you have to, you'll die. It's great. Speaking of, I need to send you Janae's heart race challenge, her dance. Because like when I tell Melissa, the guys afterwards were like, I've never seen anything like that. Okay. And they meant that was her ass. So I was like, incredible. You would love her. Love it. So yeah, we hope you all enjoyed. Send us your voicemail, leave us your voicemails, send us your voice memos, send us your emails and DMs so we can give you advice, and you might hear yourself or hear your words in next week's episode.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye. Don't Blame Me is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production sound and editing by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Giacomo Picasso and Ryan Hunter.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
I'm Brennan Storr.
I'm Paul Bestall.
We're the Ghost Story Guys.
And every 2 weeks, we explore first-person stories of encounters with the paranormal from all around the world.
Then we have some fun reacting to those stories. We like to say our goal is to scare the hell out of you, then make you laugh.
Belief in the paranormal is not required. All you need is a love of great storytelling and curiosity about the world around you.
Subscribe to the Ghost Story Guys now on your favorite podcatcher to hear episodes like High Strangeness in Chicago, The Mystery of Missing Time, and The Haunting of Vietnam, along with dozens of others.
We've talked about mythical bridges, doppelgangers, haunted seaside towns, and so much more.
Remember that story about the guy who was trapped inside a dream and something was hunting him? That was upsetting.
Yes it was.
Want us to help ruin your sleep? Come find the Ghost Story Guys on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else fine podcasts live, or at ghoststoryguys.com.